Mm? Oh, I actually do have one last thing to add, and I don't know how to even talk about it. I got halfway through Witcher, the TV show.
Yes.
That might be the weirdest adaptation I've ever seen because the games exist.
So I heard from some folks that he is more dad than tired.
Henry Cavill's doing a really good job. He's doing a really, really good job as Geralt. I think that his performance as Geralt is a highlight.
Is he more dad than tired?
He's pretty tired.
Okay.
And he is Henry Cavill is like I think we joked about it before. He's like a fucking for real like video game fiend.
Yeah, every interview has had a new clip that people have posted
Right.
around of him.
So he is
weeping out.
actually just straight up basing his performance off Doug Cook's from the games.
Okay.
Which is why it is so familiar.
Okay.
He's just doing it with a British accent instead of an American accent.
Okay.
The way that this show has come about is a really confusing mess of what. Okay, so when the games were made, the author was like, video games are dumb and wanted nothing to do with them, right? So in terms of what is the deal with the Witcher stories, the games 1, 2, and 3 are fan fiction, straight up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not legitimate. However, they are what the vast majority of people who know about The Witcher have actually encountered. And they are slavish in their devotion to detail and character and whatnot. And they are obsessed with nailing it, right? The show isn't. The show is a looser adaptation because it's a TV show being made for a generalized audience.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like given the thumbs up by the author
Mm-hmm.
directly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I keep running into this situation where some characters are like Geralt himself are explicitly being taken from the game in their portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
Others are completely different. And I have to date enjoyed the game interpretation of those characters to a 1. Every single one. Except for maybe Dandelion, who is totally killing it as a dickhead bard who just fucks around. Like, you probably heard the jingle, like, pay a coin to your witcher, toss a coin to your witcher. It's so weird because you'll get a character and the way that they act and the way that they talk, you go, that's wrong, says the guy who never read the books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird. And like you look at the girl who plays Cirilla in the thing and the character design in the game in Witcher 3, and it's like the ages are all over the place, the level of capability of the character on display is a wall over the place.
That's about to happen again. Like, not only is there a HBO Lord of the Rings series about to drop, but there's a Gollum game getting made. And like we're all about to go, that's not right according to the movies and not the books I have not read.
Yeah.
So
and
it does happen.
There's 2 bits that are like really, really weird. The first is that the show has a bit which deals with lifting a curse off a princess, right? That was the flashback of that was the first cutscene in Witcher 1. Like, it was literally the first thing you saw when you booted the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a end of the game side quest in 1 that was, oh, she got cursed again, and it was a thin excuse to just recreate that moment. But because you were playing a game, you got to like go through it in so much more detail than the feeling very rushed version that you get in the show, which is, I mean, you probably get a shit zillion bunch of detail when you're reading it off a page, and it just feels weird. Like, it feels like I'm watching a shittier live action version of the intro cutscene to Witcher 1.
Okay.
Like, it's fucking weird. And then the other thing is that one of the major antagonists slash characters in the final Witcher 3 expansion, Blood and Wine, was a adaptation of a short story that wasn't part of the main storyline, and was about a girl who got born under an eclipse, right? And all that storyline. And you spend like a dozen hours in and around this character. That same short story was adapted into another different character in the first episode of the show with an identical plot line. And so the last thing from Witcher 3 is the first thing in this show, despite being chronologically the maximum distance apart, and gives the feeling of, did Geralt really go through the same exact thing twice? No, because the game doesn't. It's a fucking mess. It's super weird.
But it's your brain at fault.
Yeah.
and the show doesn't give a fuck, and the author does not give a fuck that you, the game fan,
and it's so
feel
weird
this
because
way.
it feels like the only people who gave a fuck were the people making the game.
Then allow author man to enjoy as all the game fans have these weird moments, and he can go, ah ha ha,
Yeah.
fuck you, my books. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just weird.
I imagine when I think of like that like type of protagonist, and I haven't seen any of it so far, but like, is he at all like Trevor in Castlevania?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's who would actually be? He's just tired.
Because Trevor's tired.
And yeah, but he's also like kind of like emotionless a lot of the time.
Okay. Okay.
And yes, I'm aware I'm very wrong, guys. Don't worry about it. But even my wrongness serves a purpose, and that is, it's fucking weird to go through the game series that goes so far into the future.
And that's the hard canon in your brain.
Yeah, only to have the original stuff be loosely adapted and starting over. It's fucking goofy. It's super weird. Like, and there are characters that I really, really dislike what they are in the show as opposed to in the game. Like, there's a King Foltest who's just like a fucking asshole when you run into him in Witcher 1 and 2. Every interaction with him sucks because he's such a stuck-up piece of shit. And in the show, he's just kind of normal, grumbly, shitty king. Nothing interesting or dramatic.
I don't know if these exist, but most huge fan base media do have wikis where they will break down the differences between characters.
Yeah.
It would probably be interesting for you to go back and go, here's the differences between the books, the shows, and the games. Because I know that like Game of Thrones had that in some cases. JoJo has that in some cases, where they go, here's some stuff that each of these unique adaptations has that the others don't, so that you can get an overall feel for what's different across the board.
And I
find that stuff fascinating.
There's always the possibility that I'm wrong, and the people I talk to were wrong, and that it's actually the book is actually being like perfectly represented in the show.
Oh, okay.
If that's the case, then I'm glad that a subpar fantasy novel was able to make a bunch of good video games. Because if the show is more accurate than the games, then those books suck.
Oh, okay.
Like, straight up.
I do think I do imagine that there's a bunch where the author, like I said, would be like, if you played the game, this is going to fuck with you. So let's go that way, on purpose.
Yeah, but apparently it's so weird the way they talked. I looked up some cast stuff, and like Henry Cavill is like, yeah, Doug Cook's great. I love his performance. But everybody else on this, like, what's a video game? What's a video? I never even heard of what a video game is. What are you talking about? What's a video game? Like, it's because the rights and all the fucking shit.
That's also like, if everyone on the staff was like, okay, go play these giant games and complete them and come back. And
one of which is like a fucking nightmare, like a Poland jank shit fest.
Yeah. The one other thing I heard about it was that,
wow, okay, Google did not know how to do that.
The one other thing I heard about it was that like The music there's like a theme. There's some themes and people they're okay, but they got nothing on like Wild Hunt.
Yeah. Also, this is gonna sound really weird. The CG in the show is worse than the in-game graphics of the game.
I 100% understand what you mean. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
because of how they stand out.
It stands out as bad.
Yeah, I totally understand.
And it's like,
yikes.
Like everything about it as an adaptation is weird. It's just it feels weird. The official now feels bootleg. I can't think of anything that has ever made me feel this way about like a proper like a fucking franchise.
Well, maybe like the third series many years from now will be the one.
Well, no, because the games exist in a state of canon in which they changed one thing about the story to make the games work, and that's Geralt dies.
Okay, well...
And they went, no, he doesn't. He lived.
Okay.
So, but they're not going to do that shit.
But I also mean the fact that, like, Witcher now being in, like, this much more large audience, like, arena, you know, it's playing in the fucking Netflix space now. It's something where the guy who makes The Witcher probably isn't done with The Witcher, making him some money.
Oh, he's probably fine now.
Oh, he's fine, but he could always go for some more.
Yeah.
So, like, if this series does well, why wouldn't they want another, or perhaps even,
is that why he decided that video games are okay now?
Or it ends and then they make another one that is called not a sequel.
Oh god, what's it called? Witcher Legends. You familiar with that branding?
No.
Star Wars Legends?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Or Geralt of Rivera.
What's Max call him? Gerry of the River?
Yeah. You know, you could just do that. Lara Croft and Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Bad. I don't know. I don't think the show's particularly good. I think Henry Cavill is really good. And I think the guy who plays Dandelion is really good. But, like, I genuinely had more fun playing the Monster Hunter crossover Witcher quest than watching the show.
I'm happy to hear that Henry Cavill is more than just Superman.
He's good.
I'm happy to hear that.
That clip that's going around of him spitting out that beer is, like, A+. Acting by spitting. You did a good job.
What's not good is when you're just known as Superman.
And not a particularly good Superman at that.
No.